Back inside the Toyota Club, Paul Dottino and Kevin Gilbride. It is time for our NEC Alumni segment. And I want to make sure I get these accolades right because these guys haven't played in just a bit. But Marquise Watson, Bryant alum, class of 2017, all NEC first team in 2016, team captain for 3 seasons, played some linebacker and also played defensive line. Gordon Hill over there, Sacred Heart. He was a safety, had a cup of coffee with the San Diego Chargers. And how about this? All NEC first team in 2013 and 2014, was also a All-American in 2014. These guys are now graduated from the field to the coaching sideline. Marquise, an assistant now with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Gordon, you see the SHU, he wears it proudly. Well, he's part of that secondary coach with the Pioneers. Fellas, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I think the first thing I have to ask both of you, if you would kindly tell me, when is it you first started to think about becoming a coach? Was it after you got to be a player at your school, or was it something you kind of always had in your minds from early on?
For me, it's something I had in my mind all my life. When I was getting recruited, the 3 things I asked for was somewhere that's going to let me play, somewhere early, somewhere that's going to let me wear the number 5, and somebody that's going to let me and get me on the right path to become a college coach. I think college coaching, you can do so much with shaping and molding young men from 18 to 23 years old, and that's a very important phase of their life. So it's been my whole life for me.
I think for me, it kind of, as I got older, playing junior and especially senior year, you kind of do take on that coaching role for the young guys because, you know, this is your last year. So you kind of harness the skills and you are developing those freshmen, those sophomore who will be, you know, taking your place once you graduate. So I think for me, once I hit about senior year, like I said, you pretty much become a coach and kind of teach the young guys. So I think for me, right after senior year, I said, you know what, I think I could do this because I was basically doing it my last year at Sacred Heart playing.
If there was one key philosophy or piece of your attitude that you had already developed before becoming a coach that has now become incredibly valuable, what would it be?
Believe it or not, it's in my spring and my senior year, it's play fast. And I hate to take a James Perry line, but when I got some time to spend time with him in the spring, me being a bigger guy, you have to play fast in this game, no matter if you're up front, no matter if you're in the secondary. But I'm stuck with, and I love the whole play fast mantra.
I mean, I have to agree, honestly. I definitely say play fast. I mean, both of us being defensive guys, you have to play fast because the game offensively is getting faster. So, you know, we have to match that. And also for me, one thing I would say, just be yourself. Don't try to be somebody else. You know, if you know you're a run stopper, be a run stopper. You know, I understand you got to be versatile and things like that, but be yourself on the field. You know, don't try to be anybody else. I think that's very important.
I know when I was a player, I said, boy, those coaches have it easy. They're not out there running around hitting like we were. All of a sudden, I became a coach. I found out life was a lot different than I thought when I looked at him as a player's point of view. What has been the biggest difference that you guys have found now that you're coaching?
The amount of hours you use as a coach. It's not even close. As a player, you think when you're lifting, you're running, you have summer workouts and things of that nature, you're spending a lot of time. As a coach, you got to triple that. Quadruple that, or it's not even close. The amount of time you spend in the office around the players and watching film, as a player, you really don't understand and appreciate, honestly, the time that the coaches put in just for one play call or one phase of the game. So obviously the time.
I think the toughest thing for me making the transition to be a coach was, you know, just trying to get the players to see the game the same way I did. You know, slow it down and I mean, it's been challenging. I know my first year being a graduate assistant last year, you know, I'm like, guys, relax. You know, it isn't that hard, but you kind of have to step back and remind yourself, like, they aren't you. And I think that's the biggest thing. So really just walk them through it, be thorough, and, you know, hopefully they'll get it.
One of the things that I'd like you guys both to comment on is when you lose as a player, there's one response. When you lose as a coach, it's something completely different. Talk about that a little bit.
When you lose as a player, it hurts because obviously, as competitors, you want to win every game. But honestly, as a coach, what I've learned so far is you get 24 hours. You get 24 hours to digest whether you win or loss, and then the next day you got to get ready for the next opponent or whatever that may be. It's totally different as a player and a coach. As a player, you soak in, you're so upset about the loss, but as a coach, you got to start preparing for the next opponent, because in 7 days you're going to have another game.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think it may have actually been easier as a player to get over a loss, because as a coach, you're not out there, so you can't, take any frustration or anything like that. You can't do it anymore. So, I mean, as a coach, I definitely hear you as far as you got to move on. That's for sure. But I mean, there's still some times where I'm like, man, like we should have won that one. But I mean, you have to move on. So it's for me, I still kind of hold on to it a little bit, and that's just something I got to do and mature as a coach.
Guys, we are so glad in the football community that you've decided to remain with football, because it's certainly a great sport, and we know it's meant a lot to you guys in your lives. Marquise Watson representing the old Bryant Bulldogs, and of course Gordon Hill with the Sacred Heart Pioneers.